Hello and welcome to our lunchtime meditation here. Today we are going to be taking our inspiration for meditation from the ancient art of Kintsugi, which is a beautiful form of art from Japan dating back around 600 years that embraces the imperfection in everything and finds beauty in it. And that's where we will be focusing our meditation today. I have attached to our Facebook page a short video that illustrates this art of Kintsugi. So if you have never heard of it, I would encourage you to watch that video. It's brief and it's beautiful, and it dates back to the time when a shogun of Japan broke a beautiful piece of pottery and wanted it fixed and sent it off to China, and it came back stapled, and he regarded it as ugly and asked his staff to find a more beautiful solution. And so Kintsugi, the art of Kintsugi, is what they created, taking lacquer and gold dust and silver dust and platinum dust, combining that and joining the pieces with that solution and creating a really beautiful effect in those broken pieces, highlighting them instead of trying to hide them. So this will be a meditation that uses imagery to help us settle in and contemplate this art of imperfection. So I want to invite everyone now to join me by taking their meditation seat, closing their eyes, settling in to this moment, laying aside anything you have brought with you in your mind and spirit, and knowing that we'll all be here in a few minutes when we finish. So settling in and bringing attention now to the breath. Following the breath all the way in and all the way out. Gently guiding attention to focus and rest on the breath. Allowing these first few breaths to be extra slow and deep. Allowing the nervous system to settle. Allowing the breath to find its rhythm. Letting each breath be deeper and slower than the prior one. Feeling the breath expand and enlarge the space in the chest and the belly. Sending the breath all the way to the tips of the fingers and toes and the head, the crown of the head. And as attention wanders, just bringing attention back to the breath. And anytime in the meditation, if you feel dis-ease, discomfort, or the mind feels too busy and distracted, just bring attention back to the breath, letting it be an anchor for your attention. And now as we continue to rest here in the breath, I'd invite all of us to bring into our mind's eye the image of a beautiful piece of pottery, real or imagined. One you might own, seen somewhere, or just created right now. And letting that piece of pottery represent you. And as you do that, Also reflecting briefly on your own life and the areas of your life that have felt imperfect, whether it's your traits that you find flaws in, or difficult life experiences that have left you feeling broken or imperfect, failures, all of those things that we all experience. Not going deep into the story, but just reflecting, what are those areas that come to mind for you? And imagine that piece of pottery being dropped onto the floor and broken, and letting all those areas of brokenness in the pottery represent all those imperfections that have come to mind, those difficult life experiences, those failures that we all experience. And as you bring that to mind, also imagine, if you will, someone, a potter, a skilled potter, picking up those pieces and putting them on a work table. And imagine that crafts person examining the pieces and preparing the lacquer that they're going to use to put the pieces together. And just imagine that process, even if you've never seen it before. Just imagining that person lovingly putting that lacquer on each piece, fixing them together, and doing this little by little, day by day. It's a long process that can't be rushed, but taking their time to join the pieces back together, and every day putting what's done in a cupboard and bringing it back out the next day to continue to work on it. And just noticing their response and their joy as they continue to put it together, seeing this really new piece of pottery form, looking different than it ever has before. Noticing maybe the gold flecks in the lacquer catching the light. Noticing the smile and appreciation on the face of this craftsperson. And noticing what it feels like to be this piece of pottery coming back together in a different form, but a form that is feeling valued and important. Finding meaning in even these broken areas and pieces. Noticing how it's new and different. And yet these pieces of brokenness aren't being hidden, and no one's pretending they don't exist. And in fact, these pieces are being celebrated. And just imagining that piece of pottery being finished and being set on a place of prominence, a shelf. Noticing how it feels to be a piece of pottery put back together in a new and a different way, where those broken pieces are still visible. Those lines are visible, but now enhanced. And just reflecting on your own life experiences, and where you, or maybe if you can't see it, where others have noticed how even these what we consider imperfections or failures or difficulties have actually brought meaning or value or beauty to your own life or that of others, hard-earned lessons, growth, areas of growth or wisdom, opportunities to be able to empathize with others who've experienced the same difficulties, perhaps earning wisdom, earning trust from other people who know you can really understand their life experiences. Maybe attitudes you value, like humility, patience, empathy. And there might even be areas of imperfection that we have no idea what beautiful thing might come from that. And maybe there isn't always anything, and yet letting it simply be there as part of the story, not something that has to be hidden or ignored. Seeing what it might be like to just accept whatever your form is as this new piece of pottery. Just noticing feelings and thoughts that are coming up. And if any overwhelming feeling of difficulty comes up, feeling free to come back to the breath, bringing attention there. And I'd also like to invite you to even bring up some soothing touch. So even bringing a hand to the heart or other area of the body that might feel soothing and kind, that also supports this practice of bringing a kind and a warm attention and appreciation to yourself. Just the way the craftsperson brought attention and warmth and care to the pottery. And just resting here in this space. Either holding on to this image of the pottery or letting that go and just simply resting here in the breath and connecting to the sense of warmth through the touch. And perhaps even bringing a sense of curiosity to what more there is to learn from this pottery. And just letting those gold flecks in the lacquer be our compassion, our acceptance for ourselves, for our imperfections, for our failures, for just living life and not knowing the answers and still needing to get up and make decisions and make attempts day after day. And just looking at all of the gold flecks in the lacquer of this pottery we're envisioning, and knowing that every time we bring acceptance and self-compassion to ourselves in these difficult moments, that we're opening up opportunities for healing and growth, for seeing strength and beauty in all aspects of ourselves. And if you're a person of faith, you might also reflect on how these gold flecks might also not only reflect for you self-compassion, but also love and self-compassion. Love and compassion that is from God, and how you might take refuge and rest in that. And knowing how that feels different than resting in our own perfection and only feeling goodness and acceptance when we feel like we're getting it completely right and we're just being a completely unbroken bowl. Just noticing the difference in the way we experience ourselves. Now letting all that go and just resting here in the breath. And as we come to the end of this meditation, bringing some movement to the toes and the fingers and listening for the sound of the bell. thank you all for bringing your attention and holding space with yourself and with all of us here. And I see Lisa today and Tom, Rhiannon. It's good to see all of you guys. Thank you for joining me, and we'll be here next week. Bye-bye.